Welcome everyone to season 3 of Hit It Where They Mow, Talking Golf in Texas, and this is episode 1, a joint podcast with my dear friend, the host of Advocacy in Motion, Mr. Tommy Finn. And Tommy, here we are back at the Tribute and Old American Golf Club in the Colony, the 11th playing of the, see if I can get this name right, it's one of the longest one on the LPGA Tour, the Ascendant LPGA Championship benefiting Volunteers of America. It's one of our favorite weeks of the year.
It is. It's so much fun, and we've been here since day one, which was 11 years ago when this tournament got started. And it's so great to be back here. Not here just for Media Day, but we'll be covering the tournament as well, coming up October 3rd through the 8th.
Absolutely. And I had a cardinal sin earlier talking to Mike King, the CEO of Volunteers of America, mentioning we had 2 Texas winners out of 10 years in Angela Stanford of Fort Worth and Cheyenne Knight of Aledo, forgetting about the great Stacy Lewis, who won the second event in 2014. At that time, she was probably the #1 player on the LPGA Tour from Houston. And then we had that media day, if you remember, out at Top Golf the following year when she showed us up close how to hit a golf ball.
She did, and she went from that tournament to, she is the captain of the Solheim team this year. So very proud of Stacy and all she's done, and all she's done for golf throughout her
she
career.
is just a wonderful, wonderful lady, and she's a mom now, and she had to take a little time, I think, off and everything, but she's back playing well, contending again.
She is, so
Yeah.
I think that's great. And we're talking about the first tournaments here. Those are the days when they had the high school shootout. If you
Yes.
remember, they invited the top high school players in the country to come in to qualify, and the top 2 players qualified to play in the tournament, their first LPGA tournament. And one of those players is Maddie, Szeryk, who won that competition and is now on the tour and playing in this tournament this year.
Absolutely, from McKinney and then Texas A&M, and she's currently 93rd as we speak on the CME points list for the end of the year tournament in November in Naples, Florida. But Cheyenne Knight was a high school qualifier.
Absolutely.
And she made the cut as a high school golfer. And then she went on to win here in 2019, and then she won a partnership tournament this year for her second LPGA win, and she'll be back here. And she shot a little 63 or 4 the last round last year, but was too far back to win, but came close. And I know you're a fan of Charlie Hull, who'll be back to defend her title. She's from England and just narrowly missed winning this last week of Cincinnati, losing to Minjee Lee in a sudden death playoff. And Charlie was very unlucky. I've watched the last couple of hours of that coverage. She left the ball literally on the lip in the first playoff hole. And then Minjee got her on the second playoff hole by hitting a wedge within a foot of the hole for her birdie. Indicative of just the amazing golf they play.
Yeah, and all of those players are going to be here for our tournament here, and we're so lucky that we have this tournament here in Texas, and it comes right after the Solheim Cup. So not only the U.S. team members, but the European team members, including Charlie Hull, will be here for this tournament. So it's a fun week. It really is.
It is, and it's amazing to me, or it's indicative of the LPGA Tour, that the quality of play and the fact that the current #1 player was 300 and something last year. In other words, they have these meteoric rises, then they try to hold that game at a certain level, but it's very competitive, but it's great to see them in person, as you said. It's such a family atmosphere at an LPGA tournament. These women professionals take the time for every kid to get an autograph. I've never seen anything like it. And, it's in the first part of October. The weather should be good. It's kind of leading up to the Texas OU weekend. So it's a chance to get out, see them up close, and a great event to bring the family to.
You're exactly right, because I know this year they've initiated the kids zone. There's a special restaurant section down by the 17th tee for families down there. Kids get in free. So it is a family place. It's beautiful out here on Lake Lewisville. In fact, you can see the lake behind us. It looks pretty. It's nice out there. It's a good place to come, and it's going to be October. It's going to be wonderful weather.
Absolutely. Now, I've known you a long time, and you love golf. We both do. But you were ahead of the curve on this LPGA involvement, and talk a little bit about that, because I think you are able to articulate why we enjoy following this tour.
That was really fortunate. I was working, and our guest Jenni Steele was working with Cadillac at the time, and we were working with Cadillac on some sponsorships. And Kathy O'Neill, who was with the tournament, invited me to a cocktail party to talk about the new LPGA golf tournament in Texas, and wanted to know if I'd be interested in looking into it and seeing what it's all about. And I did, and it worked out beautifully. Cadillac came on board as a sponsor from day one. We had the beautiful pavilion out at Las Colinas, and just got involved. I've said this many times before, I've never met anyone involved with Volunteers of America or the LPGA that just weren't great people, and enjoy so much working with everybody and all the good work that they do. And now we're able to continue our work with Jenni Steele and her company Niagara, to continue that relationship to support both the tournaments. So it's a fun project to be involved with. I look forward to it every year.
Yeah, and Mike was talking about Kathy Whitworth, who passed away this past year. She was so involved in it. The all-time tournament winner, 88 wins on the LPGA Tour, and I know the trophy is named after her. And a lot of people may not realize that it was about close to 30 years, maybe, or 25 years to 30 years since they had an LPGA event until 2013. And there were some members at Las Colinas Country Club that loved women's golf, and they, did all the necessary footwork to get this tournament here. Now it's one of two tournaments that's played in Texas, with the new Chevron Championship down in Houston, which is considered a major with a huge purse. And so I think it helped get the LPGA back into Texas where it should be, with all the great golfers that come from Texas.
Well, you talk about Kathy's 88 wins, which may never be broken, and one of the reasons is what you just alluded to. There's so many good young players. We have first-time winners in many of the tournaments this year. They're coming from Asia, Thailand, for certainly the United States, from Europe. So it is a global community, and it's just so tough to win 88. It's tough to win any tournament now because the talent is so great out there.
The other aspect to that, I agree with you, but there were good players back in the day as well. Yes. But her length of winning is amazing, like 20-year span from her early 20s to her early 40s. She was winning on the LPGA Tour. Jack Nicklaus is the only person I can think of that rivals that, or Sam Snead, in as far as longevity of a career. But she will be missed, but her legacy will live on with that trophy. And if you're a golf lover, as we are, and especially if you're a, quote, senior type golfer, it's wonderful to watch women play, because they don't play by brute strength like a Bryson DeChambeau or whatever. They have wonderful technique, wonderful rhythm, and it helps your game to watch how they play, because we all ought to play with a little more rhythm.
Absolutely. I mean, I just, all this heat and weather we've had this summer, I have not been able to get out and play much, and I've watched so much golf. And now I think I can go out and shoot par.
It looks so easy.
It looks so easy when you watch, especially the LPGA players. So it is a wonderful game. And you mentioned Kathy, and this coming up. There are many events. If you go to the Ascendant LPGA benefiting Volunteers of America website, you'll see Kathy Whitworth dinner that's open to the public. You can go to. There are various other events that not only support Kathy. There's the Women in Play Luncheon with Judy Rankin that's open to the public. So there's many ways, not only just at the tournament, which is a lot of fun, but there are other ways to get involved. And all of these events go back and benefit Volunteers of America as well.
Yeah, it's just a great week, and it's great to be a part of it. And I want to thank you for encouraging me so much, helping me so much with the podcast. And we know you hit it where they mow most of the time. And also Jenni Steele, it's been great getting to know her and the great people over at Niagara. And she's taken to the game of golf, maybe not like we have, but she's getting close.
She does.
Yeah, so I just want to thank Niagara again for being such a great sponsor of this show and your show as well. Here's Tricia to say a little more about that.
Thanks, Pat, and thanks, Niagara, for your support of so many nonprofits, including the Volunteers of America 125 plus years of national support for those in need. Are you tired of compromising between performance and water efficiency in your bathroom? Well, Niagara has the perfect solution for you. With almost 50 years of expertise, they've mastered the art of creating top-notch toilets, bidets, and more that save water without sacrificing performance. Don't miss out on this bathroom revolution and upgrade your space today. Niagara products are available nationwide.
Also want to thank Veritex Bank, the Golf Bank of Texas, Malcolm Holland, Martin Thomas, all the nice folks at Veritex Community Bank. An ideal bank for personal banking and small commercial lending. And also my 2 golf courses that are sponsors. The Tempest Golf Club recently voted number 3 public course in the state of Texas by Texas Monthly. The Tempest Golf Club, tempestgolfclub.com, you can make reservations to play there. It's a great stay and play, about a 2-hour drive from Dallas off Interstate 20 near Longview. And near and dear to my heart also is the Dornick Hills Country Club in Ardmore, Oklahoma. The home course of the great Perry Maxwell, one of the most revered golf architects in the history of the game. And they have great non-resident membership opportunities for you. Dornick Hills Country Club in Ardmore, Oklahoma. Great to be out here at Old American Golf Club, the Tribute actually clubhouse, for the media day it probably has the longest name of any tournament on the LPGA, for Ascendant LPGA Championship benefiting Volunteers of America. And of course, our first guest is the CEO of Volunteers of America, Mr. Mike King.
Welcome.
Thank you. Tickled to be here.
Yeah.
You're looking very CEO with that sports coat.
Well, I've got to fly to my office this afternoon in Washington D.C., and so I have to actually look real. Look like I'm doing real work. I can't look like I'm just walking off the golf course and stuff. But this is the most fun part of the job. Is right here. Right here.
This is going to be a really fun month coming up for Volunteers of America and for the LPGA. Tell us a bit. You've been with them, Volunteers of America, from the beginning, from day one. How'd that come about? And
yeah, I'll tell you exactly how it came about. I'd always said to friends of mine and frankly board members of mine that if ever there was an LPGA tournament back in Texas, I wanted our charity, Volunteers of America, to somehow be a part of it and be related to it. And then a second piece of that was, and also, I wanted to see if there would be a way of us getting the all-time leading champion of professional golf, Kathy Whitworth, with 88 tournament wins, getting her involved because she lives here. And no one was really writing about that very much, even talking about that very much. And then one day I looked in the newspaper in the sports section and it said, that the LPGA had decided to put a tournament in Texas, and it was called the Shootout. It was going to be called the Texas Shootout, and so I went to my ad agency and said, look, find out who's putting that on, and get me a lunch with them. And so that's exactly what happened. And we had lunch at another country club where it was hosting the tournament then, where we were yesterday. And we had lunch. I said, what can we do? And we volunteered to sponsor, to be a partial sponsor, and put some money with it, and then have our names on the flags of all the pins. And so from the very first year, we were involved, and that was a very sort of low-end level, if you will, but they were very generous with us and worked with us for like 2 years on that basis. And during that time, during one of those, during the Pro-Am, I had walked with Mike Wan, who was at that point in time the LPGA commissioner, and he said, this could become the Volunteers of America Classic at some point. And I said, really? And so we had an interesting conversation, and then sure enough, 6 months later, Mike calls me, about 2 weeks before they're due to release the new schedule, and there had been a change in sponsorship of this tournament, and said, we need a sponsor, and we can make you a heck of a deal because we're up against a wall of needing to make a decision and needing to publish a schedule that includes this tournament. And so I talked with a few of my board members, and we jumped in at the last minute, and it became in those days it was I think it was the North Texas Shootout by Volunteers of America is the way it was termed. And so that was about the third year in to this tournament history. So we've gone the full route of being a partial, being the title, and now sort of being at the end of the title as the beneficiary, and of course Kathy Whitworth's involvement was a blessing, an absolute blessing. We can talk more about that, but it was an absolute blessing. And she became our major ambassador. Her and frankly Judy Rankin, both became major ambassadors of this tournament.
Both World Golf Hall of Fame members. And just for some who might not know about Kathy Whitworth, I think this is our first tournament without her. She passed away this past year. She won 88 LPGA events. Sam Snead and Tiger Woods are tied for the PGA Tour with 82. Kathy won 88, and she had such wonderful stories going, back to I guess her career span maybe the late 60s up until the late 80s. She had a run similar to Jack Nicklaus in length.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't meet a more humble, gentle person in your life. And she was out to hug every player on that first tee.
That's right.
We're going to miss her this year.
That's right. That's right. She's major, and I just had a belief that I felt like, and still do believe, that this record is sort of our version of the Joe DiMaggio 52-game hitting streak.
Yes.
The record that's probably never going to be broken if there is one. You just don't see that happening anytime soon, and yet I don't think the golf world talks about that record enough.
Right.
And so I wanted us, at least in her hometown, right in her backyard, to lift that up and lift her up as much as we could. And yet I knew she'd never let us do the whole Byron Nelson thing. She wouldn't let us call it the Kathy Whitworth tournament because she's too humble for that. So we came up with the next best thing, and that was, what if we named the trophy after Kathy? And I mentioned that idea to the LPGA the first year we were involved, and they mentioned it to Kathy and said she's kind of hemmed and hawed and wasn't real enthusiastic about that. And so at the first gathering of sponsors and potential groups to attend the tournament of the following year, I walked up to Kathy and said, look, I know the LPGA is bothering you about something, and I want to let you know it's my fault because it's my idea. But if you just let us name the trophy after you, you won't have to do squat. And when I said that, she broke out laughing and said, "Oh, sure, go ahead, go ahead." And so from that point forward, we had lunch 2 days later, and she designed the trophy on a napkin.
And
she literally wrote the design of the trophy with the state of Texas and the horseshoe and all of that. All that came right out of Kathy's penmanship on a napkin from lunch, and so from that point forward, it's been the Whitworth Trophy.
Great stuff.
And she's presented it, the Winners Trophy every year, and it's a meaningful thing to the players because a few years ago they were interviewing Jenni Shin, one of our winners.
Yes.
At our Korean Media Day, and they asked her what was her greatest thrill in golf. She said, "Oh, it was getting my winner's trophy from the all-time winner, Kathy Whitworth."
Wow.
That was her biggest thrill in golf
Right.
by this young professional, and so it's been meaningful to people.
Just another couple of tidbits about Kathy Whitworth. She had 12 lost playoffs. So she said, "Oh, you had to bring that up." But if she'd have won those 12 tournaments, she would have had a cool 100 wins. But
there you go.
88 is impressive enough. And then I was at a dinner one night in Longview, Texas, and she was a speaker, as was Jim Dent, the big long-hitting golfer.
Yeah.
And so he knew the answer to the question, but he said, "Kathy, how many different putters did you use to win those 88 tournaments?" She said, "I used one putter."
Yeah.
The same putter all those years. And she was of the theory, or Harvey Pinnock told her, if you play poorly, blame me first as your teacher, then blame yourself, then blame your club. So anyway, yeah, we're going to really miss her, but I just want to congratulate you on embracing that history and making that meaningful. And that's wonderful to hear that Jenni Shin said that.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
isn't that great?
Yeah.
It's so great. Yeah, Kathy, every day I miss Kathy, and she ended up, becoming one of our best friends, and which we never anticipated that would be such a gift, but it'll be a challenging year, but the organizers and the guys that work the staff from Andy's team have done a great job of coming up with ways to honor Kathy during the tournament, and so it's going to be good.
We will have some guests coming up today that are going to talk about those various events honoring Kathy.
Yeah.
And there's a great number of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be, like we said, it's going to be a really fun month coming up leading up to the tournament and, of course, the tournament itself here at the Tribute.
Yeah.
In that same vein, this is the 11th playing of the tournament, and I think you've had 2 Texas winners. You had Cheyenne Knight in 2019, and she just won another tournament this year, so we're happy for her. She's like 53rd, I believe, on the CME points list to get into the finals, which is the top 60 players, the end of the year event in Naples, Florida in November. But also Angela Stanford during the COVID year when it was played.
That's right.
I think you had one of the coldest tournaments of all time in 2020, followed by one of the hottest ones in 2021. But
that's right.
I love the October days. It's October 5th through the 8th here at Old American Golf Club, which is part of the Tribute in the Colony.
Yeah.
But how about Texas winners?
Also Stacey Lewis.
Oh my gosh.
Stacey Lewis has been a winner way back there.
I bogeyed that one. Yeah, I bogeyed that.
So we've been blessed, and then plus at a time when she was virtually the best player in the world, NB Park was a multiple winner of our tournament, and also just an incredibly gracious person. To work with on that, because she was being pulled a lot of different directions. She was literally the best players in the world at the time, and easily the best putter in the world, and so she was a really great champion. And right after that, she won the gold medal at the Olympics. And so we've been very blessed.
Yes.
Very blessed.
Now, my NB Park story was during that COVID year. I came out on a Tuesday to walk the course, and I was walking across the road to I guess the second hole, or I don't know exactly, but whatever hole it is. The 17th hole coming in. And NB Park drives by in an SUV, and her husband's driving, and she's sitting in the passenger seat knitting. I thought, that's what I need. I need a more calm approach to golf. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, she's a wonderful
lady.
lady.
You go.
Yeah.
She is terrific. She's one of those that literally, when she won the gold medal, at the Olympics, I sent her an email, like within maybe 30 minutes that I'd seen it on TV to congratulate her, and I got a reply in 15 minutes.
Nice.
I mean, literally. I mean, she's one of those kind of people, and just was a blessing to our tournament.
Well, I know you're busy here today. We've got a lot going on out here at Media Day at the Tribute. You've got a great field coming in this year. You're playing right after the Solheim Cup. Many of the Solheim Cup team members are going to be here. Tell us a little bit about what you expect for this tournament this year and what we can look forward to.
Well, it's kind of cool because one of the stronger Solheim Cup members from the European team is Charlie Hull, who really started her winning ways with us a year ago, and she's been on fire ever since, and is pretty hot right now, and is one of their leading players. And so I think that's kind of cool, and she's got a direct connection back to us. And she was the last person to get the Whitworth Trophy from Kathy Whitworth.
Exactly.
And so I think that's kind of cool, the way it connects back to Solheim, and so it's and it's kind of funny with the Solheim piece, when you've been involved with them in a tournament like this. they're all your players. It doesn't matter what country they come from or where they were born. You know, they're all your players, and you root for all of them. And so you still embrace them, even though there's this exhibition competition, if you will, between different countries. You don't take that as seriously as you might have otherwise, you know, because you've seen them all as human beings and seen them be good sports and wonderful people. So you root for all of them to have a great competition and to enjoy the competition, and then go back to normal life right afterwards. And we're the first really opportunity for going back to normal life, you know, as they come back home. So my goal is to embrace everyone, not just the Americans, but literally everyone.
Absolutely.
I know, going back to those first tournaments and being in so many committee meetings and stuff, that was the intention from the beginning. It's a universal, global tournament, and it's really worked out well for everyone. It's just a wonderful tournament.
Yeah, and that's why when there started to creep into the golf world, so almost negative feelings towards non-Americans winning tournaments, we decided to celebrate the multicultural aspect of the LPGA Tour, and started having our own Korean Media Day and Asian Media Day to really celebrate all the integration from folks from other countries, and particularly the Asian countries that had been so successful, because they, you know, those are the folks we want our granddaughters to model. You know, are these incredible young women. So we have still a very large media day planned this coming year for the Korean community, and we've gotten great support, and the organizers are sitting right next door to us here, and I think it's one of the best things we've ever done, is to start that and really celebrate that.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I know you've got to get upstairs to Media Day and get that kicked off. And so
you guys keep up the good work.
So,
I listen to you. It's great.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Take care.
Each week you'll hear us talking about how much we appreciate the support of Niagara. You may know that Niagara is the leading manufacturer and distributor of water-saving, money-saving products. And we have a very special guest today is the Vice President of Marketing for Niagara, Jenni Steele.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi.
And in person, thank you for all your support for my show, for Pat's show, and all you do for the VOA and all we're doing for nonprofits.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for putting these nonprofits first and having them get a voice. They really need it. So this is awesome. It's a great partnership.
So how did you get involved with Volunteers for America, and how did all this come about? I know you're a big supporter and a sponsor of theirs.
Yeah, well, it started with an old friend of mine named Tommy Fenn. And I came to him with a problem saying, you know, we're this company that we're a family-run company, Niagara is. We've been around, next year will be our 50th year. And we've gotten to a point where we're ready to start being philanthropic. And how do we find a way in our business and in our market to be able to be philanthropic, but also make a difference when it comes to finding the right demographics and who to go to. And Tommy came to me and he said, there is a great guy I know. I want you to meet him. They're actually looking for a sponsorship, and maybe this is something that we can talk about. So one of our owners and I went to lunch with Mike King, and I got to meet the most genuine, awesome man I have ever met in my entire life. And we start talking, and we're realizing so much need in affordable housing and how we serve affordable housing almost accidentally when people need to save water, and what we could do together to combine forces. And so when Carl and I left that meeting at lunch, we said, this is it. We've got to help VOA, and we've got to sponsor things, and we've got to figure out how to work with them to get all of their properties saving as much water as they can. Because in our business, saving water obviously is very important. It's one of our key pillars that we work towards. But when these affordable housing properties come in, they're on a very set budget, and they're all bills paid, generally speaking. So our toilets only flush 0.8 gallons of water per flush compared to the 1.6 and 1.28 that you see in the market now. And some of those older properties in affordable housing, they haven't been getting the funding to be able to keep up with renovations. So some of those toilets are up to 5 gallons of flush. So when you start adding that up in water and them paying those water and utility bills, we found an area where we can help them and we can help save them that money on their utilities so they can help more people. So when we connected the dots with Mike at that lunch, and then we went back to the office and we realized that we could put a program together to help and partner, it was just, the rest was history. And it's only been a year so far, but we've worked on a couple properties that are new construction with them. We're working with them on some of their more wasteful properties across the country that we can help them identify so they can start saving that money and repurposing it towards the community.
Very good. I know that your involvement with VOA and sponsorship dollars that you pay go back to VOA directly.
Yes.
To help them with so many projects they have across the board. And you are now have been asked to be on the board of directors of VOA Texas.
I have.
That is wonderful. How does that work for you?
I love it. It's actually, from my own career perspective, it's my first time to sit on a board. It's amazing. The whole group, their priorities in every single meeting are, what can we do to help? Where can we serve? How do we make it better? And everyone on the board was so welcoming to begin with, and then just to be able to work together. Yesterday we had one of our more our bigger fundraising event, which was a golf tournament, and we got to play in the golf tournament and see it happen. So the team for the Texas affiliate were out there at 5:30 in the morning setting up to make sure, I think it was close to 120 golfers were set to go and ready, and all of them enjoyed the different fundraising events that were going on before check-in, and then after the tournament we all sat around and got to network for lunch, and it was amazing to see all of the participation. And this has been several years that they've been doing it. So
this was the VOA Texas tournament supporting first responders, and held on 9/11.
yes.
And you guys are part of that, and I think it was a great tournament and something they do. And helping veterans is just one of many VOA platforms. And so I think, so happy that you guys get involved in that side of it as well.
Absolutely. So it's been great to see and learn, because like we talked about earlier, you know, one of the things that we knew as a business was the affordable housing, but not what VOA did across the country for everyone else in so many other ways. So to see the wide breadth of services that they provide and what they do is a really big deal. Yeah.
Now, you told me not to ask you how you played yesterday, but
Oh, geez.
but you had fun, and it was for a great cause.
Had a great time. I learned that I am gripping my club too hard, which is the bruise that I've got on my hand. So thank you very much, Pat.
Well, I was going to ask her about her golf game. Because even though she didn't score maybe well, you told me you were like long drive or something?
I was a foot away from the longest women's drive. I was so close, but I got it next year. I'm ready. I'm going to get some more lessons. I'm going to get out there more and see. I have to prove myself this year, guys, from the pro-am perspective, because I remember Tommy videoed me on the very first hole of the pro-am where I missed the ball completely, but he stopped the video just in time to make it look like I had a good swing. So this year I'm going to get a swing.
And I have to say, you were following Lexi Thompson.
I was.
And you can't tell the difference in those swings.
Oh, I bet you can.
Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us and for everything you do for supporting our podcast, supporting VOA, and so many nonprofits across the board.
Absolutely. We are honored to do it, and we're honored to be a partner with you guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jenny.
Yeah.
Well, we're really honored to have Maddie Szeryk with us, a guest, and she's a two-time qualifier as an amateur for this tournament. And now this is your rookie year or second year on tour?
Second year on tour.
Second year.
Yes.
And I noticed doing my homework that you're like 93rd on the CME list, so you still have a shot at getting to the finals.
Yes.
And I know it's a course that you're familiar with, having played it before, and you're having a pretty darn good year anyway.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. What are your thoughts going into the tournament?
I'm so excited to get to play at, a home course, because I practice and play here. I'm very thankful that they let me out here, and it's a great course. It's a good test, and be able to stay in my own room, my own bed, and be with my family is always great, because it's always okay, we're at a hotel or you're in this Airbnb, and we have great host families as well, but to actually get to stay at home is unlike anything.
That's great. Tommy, you said you remember Maddie going way back?
Yeah, we were talking about that. We've done the public relations for the first few tournaments, and got some great pictures of her spin qualifying as a high school qualifier, and now back here as a contender.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
that's awesome. Thank you.
One of those high school qualifiers went on to win this tournament. Cheyenne Knight.
Yes.
Yeah, from Aledo, and she won in 2019. And I noticed, for a long time, this was the only LPGA event in Texas. But this year, the Chevron Championship went to the Houston Woodlands area.
Yes.
And you had a very good finish there, made a nice check.
Yes.
So that must make you happy that you'll be able to go and play that course again. Would you like to
Exactly.
speak to that a little?
Oh, it was so cool to have. That was my first major to play in as a professional, and there I also got to stay with good friends, Brooke McDougald's family. They're from the Houston area Woodlands, and my parents came down to watch, and it was just great to have such a strong finish, and the first major of the year, and just really kind of set the year off strong.
That's wonderful. Tell us about your game. I notice you're not a very big person, but we know Stacy Lewis is one of our favorite golfers, and she's about your size, maybe as small, and plays wonderful golf. So tell us about your game, what your strengths are, and so forth.
Putting is everything. Putting is definitely my strength, and everybody hits it really well on this level, and about average on distance, but that's good enough. Everybody wants length, but it's really the short game that makes or breaks it for you. It's if you're not putting well, you're not making those clutch putts, it can really set you back a little bit. But I've been putting really well, so just hopefully, and knowing these greens too, I think will be a great advantage.
That's great.
What is your game plan for this tournament? What do you look for in going forward in this tournament here?
I think just to play really solid. I'm excited that I know the course, and that again I get to stay at home, and I want to have a great finish. I need a good last couple tournaments to secure my card, and but I'm really excited that it's here, and that I get that opportunity to hopefully secure it then.
Okay, very good.
Well, we want to thank you very much for stopping by, and we're going to watch very closely, and we hope that you have a very, very successful tournament.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, Pat, I think we've had a wonderful show here today. I appreciate you being here. And I too want to thank our sponsors, Niagara. We heard a lot from Jenni Steele, who's been such a supporter throughout. I want to thank all our guests today, and it's been a fun day. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy.